Welcome back to another weekly wrap. I'm Lethal One Up, and guys, let's talk about some video games. We got 6 pieces of news to go over, a good mixture of some PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox, and more. Let's go ahead and jump into the very first story, and that is pretty much going to be another PlayStation just quick state of play mini cap. Not going to detail, but just essentially some of the titles that got announced. So we had pretty much the futuristic exosuit clash with Dinosaur Hordes and Exo Primal out in 2023. And again, we are getting this information from the PlayStation blog. The next up was Ghostwire Tokyo. We got another trailer showcasing more of the narrative of the game with some more gameplay. Again, that is out March 25th on PlayStation 5. Also, some Strangers of Paradise, another trailer with some of the more gameplay. Again, this one dropped a demo that's going to go ahead and let you go and transfer over the progress in the demo to the full game. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already. Another Forspoken trailer, this time showcasing the combat. And what I think is probably the best trailer that they dropped for it. It looked good to me before. It looks even better now, in my opinion. Don't forget that also got delayed into October, specifically October the 11th. We had a Gundam Evolution game, which is a free-to-play first-person shooter action for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection is also dropping. Giga Bash, another Monster Mayhem game. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, they're bringing back the All-Star Battle. It's called All-Star Battle R, and that is launching this fall. Trek to Yomi, a really cool independent game that's coming out. Returnal is getting a dope update called Returnal Ascension, essentially adding co-op campaign and a Tower of Sisyphus survival mode that's also being added. I might have butchered that name, but it's a cool tower mode that's being added that also has some more narrative stuff in it too. So if you're really big into the game's story, some of its lore, you're gonna want to go and check out that free update. Also, the Diofield Chronicle and Valkyrie Elysium were also announced that are dropping for both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Keep in mind, pretty interesting, a lot of still cross-gen kind of games, still PS5, still PS4. Kind of makes sense given the fact that, you know, one, we're not only are we, I guess you could say we're kind of still in a transitional phase, but more importantly, right, with the shortages, with the pandemic and everything going on, right, it is still harder to get those PlayStation 5s out there. So kind of makes some sense, right? A lot of these stuff are still going to be PS4 and PS5. I thought all in all, not bad of a state of play. Definitely didn't have any big bangers like I think a lot of people wanted to see, including myself, specifically Final Fantasy 16. I don't know when we're going to hear more about that game. I think it was said at one point, springtime, we should be seeing more for that game. So we're literally like about to become springtime. So I'd imagine maybe closer to summer, maybe sometime later April, maybe early May or something. Maybe just one more thing, or maybe it's just going to be a summer, right? A summer announcement. During that time of what used to be E3, we'll definitely see more, hopefully. We can go ahead and jump into story number 2. F-Zero X is now available on Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. This is coming from Nintendo's official Twitter. It goes, ready to race. F-Zero X is now available on Nintendo Switch for Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack members. Feeling competitive? We'll try your hand at the Grand Prix race mode, time attack mode, death race mode, and the versus battle. And that versus battle mode will be local and online 4-player multiplayer, and that is awesome. I'm so glad to see them adding, you know, online support, multiplayer support for the N64 games. That's really cool, and it gets me thinking that if they freaking do it, and they add like Mario Party games, the N64 Mario Party games, which would be fantastic, and then you launch that with freaking multiplayer, online multiplayer support. Nintendo, that's a pretty big W. That's a pretty big W in my opinion. And if you guys are gonna give me your thoughts on this, but I feel like the expansion pack, when it first got announced and the price that came with it, definitely raised my eyebrows, definitely raised a lot of people's eyebrows. But I do feel like, you know what, they're not only finally being like, you know, committed to dropping monthly games added support, but, you know, I just feel like the titles that they're dropping and what they're doing for the games, like giving them multiplayer online support, I just feel like, all right, you're finally giving me more reason to justify that price. Let's see, you know, let's see you add more games to it, because we've already seen them kind of drop support for like the NES, SNES already. Mind you, they just did drop Earthbound, so you give them that props, but they're definitely going full on with the N64 for the expansion pack. So again, give me your thoughts about it down below. I'd like to see more of this, but for more than N64 games. So definitely hope to see that. Jumping into story number 3, and that is Nintendo also announced a brand new game trial that is available for Nintendo Switch Online users. Again, from Nintendo's official Twitter account, it goes, "Attention hunters, battle fearsome monsters and fend off the rampage in Monster Hunter Rise." That is now available for Nintendo Switch Online members to try from 3/11 to 3/17 up until 11:59 Pacific time. So basically a week. It's not new, right? Game trials has been around for a long time. The one note that I have here is that, you know, I feel like personally game trials was a feature that they had. I ignored it, didn't care too much about it, but when I finally kind of, you know, looked into it a little bit more, I think is when they did The World's End With You, and I kind of feel like since then they've been dropping some more games that have caught my interest, with Monster Hunter Rise being another one. That's awesome. I'm glad that they're putting some really good games on there. You know, when you start looking at what people are, you know, starting to pay now for their subscription, which we just said, right? Like 50 US dollars if you're going for the whole monthly thing, or whatever the case may be, right? The higher price point. It is nice to see them go with like their game trials and start giving really good offerings. And I feel like they've gotten progressively better and better and better. My only thing, which I hope, I don't know if they're going to change it. The point of it is that it's a game trial, but I can't help but think a week should be at least 2 weeks, maybe push it and give us a month. My opinions. You let me know down below your thoughts about that as well. We can go ahead and jump into story number 4, kind of get shorter from here. Gotham Knights gets a release date. This is from the official Twitter account. It says, "Gotham will always need its heroes. Suit up for an all-new adventure on October 25th, 2022. We got the release date, October 25th, 2022, which now Forspoken got pushed back there too. So you're already kind of seeing a little bit of a jam-packed October. But that was it. And I was a little upset. No trailer, no cool something, just a graphic image with the release date. Really exciting, but just a bummer that we haven't gotten any more additional footage for the game since I think last year it was. So hopefully a little bit more on that, which I'm sure we will get probably in the summertime, right? Closer up to the launch of the game. But the good thing is a release date. So again, that's pretty exciting. We can go into story number 5, Elden Ring news, slight news. This is from Nibo over on Twitter. Elden Ring is the best-selling title of February 2022 and the best-selling game of 2022 so far in the US at least. That is phenomenal, especially for a niche game like Elden Rings. You know, we all know from software titles, right? The Souls games, there's such a particular crowd that gets so hyped for these games, right? They have their own really good community for it, but it hasn't really hit mainstream before. It is selling like hotcakes, clearly, and it is doing so well. The reception has been amazing. I think they've officially broken into the mainstream audience. There's people talking about this game and playing this game that have never played a Souls game before. So congratulations to From Software. This is amazing. So I'm really happy to see that. And then the last story to talk about is ID at Xbox and Twitch are back. This is from Jessica Rano over at Xbox Wire. ID at Xbox and Twitch Gaming will be coming together once again to showcase updates and new announcements of amazing games coming to Xbox from independent developers. You can catch the show Wednesday, March 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific, that is 1 p.m. Eastern. You expect to see game updates, new trailers, and gameplay. So I'm really excited about this. The only thing, I'm excited because I want to see some more indie games, and I like to see what's coming to Xbox. You know, we don't see enough, and I think that's always going to be my argument, is like we don't hear too much or see too much, at least right now. We know tons of stuff is in development, but it's cool to see some, I want to see some indies that are coming to both Xbox and all platforms. But the one thing is this event. For some reason, this event for me, it's hard to watch because it's like almost 3 hours long. It's almost like the one, was it 2 years ago or the year ago? This showcase, when I watched it, I tuned out so many times. However, I do think what they're doing is great by allowing the developers to kind of talk, explain, and go into like depth, like with their own games. I do like that aspect of it, but sometimes it is easy to kind of get a little bored and then just kind of fall off of it. And I think that's the same argument with a lot of fans. They want to see a little bit more of like a, you know, a direct kind of style showcase or a state of play to some degree. More of a trailer. Okay, let's go in depth about this game, right? Trailer, let's go. Okay, let's go more in depth about this game. I think they want to see more of that format instead of here's a game and here's like, you know, 30 to 45 minutes discussion going into the game, which I don't mind. But again, I'd be lying if I didn't say sometimes I felt like it dragged just a little bit, but just my opinion. Again, give me your thoughts about that down below, but it is pretty exciting to see another event. Now, games that released this past week, we had Chocobo GP for the Switch, that was on March 10th, and then WWE 2K22 for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. That was on March 11th. Now, guys, make sure you let us know your thoughts on these stories. That's all that I have. Thank you for watching. I'm Lethal1Up, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.